What the fuck's going on here? I said to myself as I pulled into the driveway. The strange car put me off guard immediately, but it was the time of day that really had alarm bells ringing. No one should have been home at this time, least of all me. My wife should have been at work, as should I, so understandably the random car in our driveway had me on edge. All sorts of thought were rolling through my brain at this point. Was someone robbing my house? Had someone been hurt? Fuck it, I thought, let's get to the bottom of this. I went round the side of the single garage and saw my wife Taylor's car through the window. This was strange. I was getting nervous now, trying not to think the worst. I came back around the front and let myself in. There were clothes on the floor in the lounge, so I now had a fair idea what was going on. I was a bit numb, to be honest, and was really hoping there was another explanation for this, but deep down I think I knew my marriage was over. I couldn't hear any sounds of sex anywhere in the house, so I kept a small amount of hope deep down that she hadn't been unfaithful to me, but really, I think I was lying to myself, trying to avoid the pain I knew would come. The spare room and bathroom were empty, but the door to our bedroom was closed, so I listened at the door first, and after hearing no obvious sounds of movement or talking, eased the door open slowly. The slut was lying there naked, asleep, cuddled up to some asshole I didn't know. That was enough proof for me. I saw red. The sadness hadn't kicked in yet, only anger. I left the room, went out to my gun safe in the garage, and retrieved my Springfield. My finger was feeling extremely itchy at this point, so I took a deep breath to try and relax. I didn't want this to get out of hand. I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do at this stage, but I felt a bit of revenge was in order. On my way back up to the room, I found the scumbag's license and work ID in his pants pocket, which told me his name was Kenneth Brightwater and was in fact an associate at the law firm Taylor worked at as a legal executive. Fucking asshole, I muttered to myself as I begun to climb back up the stairs to our bedroom. I tapped the pistol 3 times on the door frame, just loud enough to rouse them both from their post-coital slumber. My wife casually rolled over, yawning, then turned white, audibly gasping in shock as she saw me standing in the doorway holding the handgun. Fuckface hadn't quite opened his eyes yet, and as Taylor went to say something to me, I looked at her menacingly and put the index finger of my hand not holding the gun to my lips to indicate to her I wanted her to remain silent. She shrank back, quivering in terror. What the fuck is? The piece of human excrement got out as he finally saw me standing there pointing a pistol at his head before I interrupted him. Shut the fuck up, asshole. I told him this is the time for listening, not talking. Now I am going to ask you some questions, and you are going to answer them truthfully. If you don't, you are going to die. Now nod if you understand. He nodded slowly, eyes wide with shock. First off, what is your name and how do you know my wife? I asked, betraying a calmness I really wasn't feeling. And then my name is Kenneth, and we work together, the wannabe Casanova mumbled. I'm sorry, Look, mate. I interrupted him again. I didn't ask if you were sorry. If you're going to keep waffling on about shit I haven't asked you about, I'm just going to get to the point and put a bullet in your head. Then I'll put one in my slut wife's. She whimpered, obviously terrified, but said nothing. He nodded again, shaking visibly now. How many times have you had sex with my wife? I asked him next. 3 times was his answer. He had learnt not to elaborate. Excellent. Okay, did you know she was married? Yes, I knew. Okay, good, Kenneth. You may be a scumbag, but at least you're honest when your life's on the line. Now look, mate, it's generally not the best idea to go round having sex with other guys' wives. Especially my wife. I know some guys get off on humiliation and shit like that, but I'm not one of them. You've gone and stood on my toes, so now you're going to have to pay the piper. Good news for you is, I don't want the slut, so she's all yours when I'm finished with you, so you can fuck her all you like without having to worry about someone catching you and pissing your pants again like a pussy. Anyway, That's neither here nor there at the moment, Kenny. What you're gonna do now is come over here and give me a blowjob. His eyes got wide now. Now if you refuse, you can't get me to come in your mouth or my slut wife moves from that position, you're going to both die. Okay, Kenny boy? He looked horrified. His will to live was fighting with his manly honor. I was quite enjoying myself. The adrenaline I was feeling was amping me right up, and it was really quite empowering to have total control over another man and have him cowering beneath me like a coward. Yes, he may have taken my wife and my marriage, but now I was going to take either his manhood or his life. His will to live finally won out, and he crawled across the floor slowly towards me, the gun still pointed firmly at his head. Nice and easy, Kenny, I said. Don't do anything stupid, okay, buddy? He nodded solemnly. I had my phone out now, recording video of him crawling across the floor towards me. I continued recording his as he took my pants off and put my penis in his mouth. Now this process took a long time. I have nothing against gay people, but I certainly am not one, so I wasn't aroused in the slightest. Anyway, by the time I was finished, I had a video recording of Kenneth sucking me off and finishing all over his face. After that, I told him to step back as I pulled my pants up, then proceeded to beat the shit out of him. As he lay there unconscious, I finally turned to my wife and said to her softly, "All right, what the fuck is this about?" "I'm really sorry, baby," she said. "We've been working together for a little while and we just got too close. I didn't mean for it to happen, but it did. I have no excuse, but baby, what are we going to do? I don't want you to go to jail because something I did pushed you over the edge. It may not seem like it, but I love you. Please, let's just run away." "Noon's going to jail," I told her. "But if you really want to prove what you said is true, go to the garage, take the shovel, jump in your car, head up the bush somewhere and dig a hole." She thought about it for a second, then nodded, putting her clothes on and walking out of the room, down the stairs and out the front door. I wondered if I'd have the police turning up in a few minutes now she was safe, or if she really meant what she said. I guess we'd see. Meanwhile, I made sure Kenneth was still breathing and cable tied into a chair in our garage. I had no intention of harming him further physically if I didn't have to, but hey, if the police came storming through the door, Kenny boy was going to hell. My wife returned about 4 hours later, sweating and covered with dirt. She told me the hole had been dug. "Good," I said. "You are now an accessory to whatever happens here. Now I want you to wake your boyfriend up. Please, baby, he's a mistake. He was never my boyfriend. I love you. I'd spend my life in jail for you. I can't promise I won't mess up again, but I promise I'll try my hardest, and whatever happens I will only love you." She was crying now. Jesus, I thought, what kind of an apology is that? She won't even promise not to do it again. Oh well, fuck it, I suppose she's being honest. If nothing else, we'll just have to see how this plays out. "Okay, just wake him up, please," I told her a little softer, and she did, shaking him gently and splashing water on his face. I could tell she was trying not to hurt him further, but she was trying to do it in a way that wouldn't give me the impression that she cared about him. I knew she wasn't a violent person, and it wasn't in her nature to hurt people physically if she could help it, so I didn't hold her little show of mercy against her at this point. "All right, Kenny, you with me, mate?" I asked my new friend when he appeared to be conscious again. He groaned, probably in pain, but I just took it as an affirmative response. "We need to get a few things clear, Kenny, so we can go on with our lives, all right?" He just looked at me perplexed. "Now, Kenny, I have set up an automatic email to all your coworkers to send in 24 hours time unless I cancel it. It contains your cock-hungry behavior and facial videos and all that, okay? You can't see the gun in the video, so unless you think you can live with everyone knowing you're a pole smoker, it would be in your best interest to not have any police show up at my house with kidnapping charges or any of that sort of nonsense. It would also be in your best interest to make sure $500,000 cash appears in the account listed on this here piece of paper within 3 days. No one wants to have 9mm holes in them. Now are we clear? Do you have any questions? We're clear, he said, simply looking down at the floor. That's excellent, Kenny boy, I told him as I cut the cable ties. Now if you wouldn't mind, I think you've overstayed your welcome. He took the hint, grabbed his clothes and limped out the door. We want a quick sale, I told the real estate agent. Whatever you can get for it. We'll be moving out today. Only thing I want to hear from you is when I need to sign and when the check has been deposited into our account. I have a development company looking for properties in this area, so that won't be a problem, she replied. I will have all the relevant information for you as soon as possible. Excellent, I told her before leaving. It was time to move on. The $500K Kenny boy had generously gifted me from the goodness of his heart, alongside the money from the sale of our house, will allow us to live in relevant comfort somewhere in South America, not sure where yet. All I know is I couldn't have done it without Kenny boy's help. That guy's generosity knows no bounds. I almost felt guilty sending the email with his exploits to all his coworkers after I left the country. My wife is on a short leash, but I really do love her. I gave her the code to my gun safe and told her if there's a next time, get in there and shoot me in the head, because I will leave her where I find her. It might sound rough, but that's the person I am. I don't know much about love, but I do know I'm happier with Taylor than without her, and I wouldn't like to see her hurt, so I suppose I don't really mean it, the part about killing her, but I would rather she shoot me than make me go through that again. I talk tough and don't like to show it, but she really did break my heart when I saw her in bed with Kenny. The only reason I forgave her was her choice not to turn me into the police when I let her out of the house. She chose to sail with me and go down with the ship, so fuck it. Let the cards fall where they will. Would you have done anything better? Post it in the comments with your ideas. Please subscribe and like this video if you like. Don't forget to turn on bell notifications if you don't want to miss out on contents like these.